I didn't believe the rumors about the doll until the night the glass case was empty. I remember that detail clearly because the security guard standing next to me didn't react right away. He just stared at the inside of the display like his brain hadn't caught up yet. The placard still said, "Do not touch." The velvet rope was still hooked in place. The alarm light was still green, but the chair inside the case was empty. Up until that moment, the evening had been completely ordinary. I'd gone to the traveling paranormal exhibit with my girlfriend, just to kill time on a Thursday. We lived in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, the kind of place where neighbors mow lawns at the same hour every Saturday and everyone waves, even if they don't know your name. The exhibit was set up in the community center gym, folding walls, portable lighting, cheap carpeting rolled over basketball lines. It smelled like popcorn and floor cleaner, and yet standing there, staring into that empty glass box, I felt like the room had suddenly shrunk. The guard muttered, "That's not funny." Nobody laughed. People behind us kept walking, unaware anything was wrong. I glanced around instinctively, half expecting to see a kid running with the doll as a prank. Nothing. Just families moving between displays about haunted objects, tucking potos. The chair inside the case had indentations in the cushion. Something had been sitting there minutes ago. Before I get further, I should say, I don't really believe in haunted objects. I grew up practical. My dad fixed HVAC units for a living and taught me every strange noise had a mechanical explanation. When we bought our house 6 months earlier, I didn't even entertain neighborhood ghost stories. Old houses creak, pipes knock, wind rattles screens. That mindset didn't change right away after the exhibit, even when staff shut the lights down and started ushering people out. Even when police showed up and asked everyone to stay calm, I figured someone stole a prop. On the drive home, my girlfriend kept talking about how unsettling it felt, but I joked that the museum probably staged it for publicity. By the time we pulled into our driveway, we were laughing again. Our house sat at the end of a short cul-de-sac. 4 homes, identical mailboxes, a shared oak tree near the curb. Our nearest neighbor, Mr. Halvorsen, lived directly across. Retired electrician, late 60s, quiet but polite. We'd only spoken a handful of times. He kept his porch light on all night, every night. That night, his porch light was off. I noticed because it was the first time since we moved in. I stood there a second longer than necessary, keys in hand, just looking at his dark porch. Girlfriend asked what I was doing and I shrugged it off. People turn lights off sometimes. Maybe he was out. We went inside. If you liked listening to real experiences like this, you can subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. I didn't think this would become a story either when it started. The first strange thing happened around 2:12 a.m. I woke up because our dog wasn't barking. He was whining. Not normal whining either. The low, uncertain kind animals make when they don't understand something. Found him standing rigid in the hallway, facing the living room, ears forward, tail tucked slightly. The living room was dark, except for streetlight leaking through blinds. I almost told him to go back to bed when I heard it. A soft wooden tapping. Not on the door, on the inside wall. 3 knocks. A pause. 3 knocks. Again, it came from the living room window. I approached slowly. Heart doing that slow, heavy beat you feel in your throat. I pulled one blind slat down just enough to peek. The front yard was empty, but the grass near the sidewalk looked flattened, like someone had been standing there a long time. I opened the front door quickly. Nobody. Cold air rushed in. The street was silent. Across the road, Mr. Halvorsen's porch light was still off. I told myself it was kids. Or maybe the oak tree branches hitting siding. Eventually I slept again. The next morning, our dog refused to go near the living room window. That afternoon I noticed something else. Faint smudges on the glass, low to the ground, almost like small handprints, pressed repeatedly. I cleaned them and forgot about it until evening. Around sunset I saw Mr. Halvorsen. Outside, he stood near his mailbox staring toward our house. Not casually, fixed, unblinking. When he noticed me watching, he lifted his hands slowly in a wave but didn't smile. His porch light stayed off again that night. At 1:47 a.m. the tapping came back. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. I forced myself to look faster this time, pulling the blinds open in one motion. No one in the yard, but our mailbox was open, its door hanging. I didn't go outside. Instead, I locked the deadbolt and sat awake until morning with the TV on low volume, telling myself over and over it had nothing to do with the exhibit. 2 days later, police posted online that the missing doll still hadn't been found. Security footage showed someone entering the building after closing using an employee exit. Video angle never caught their face. They carried something small under a coat. My girlfriend joked someone probably wanted a creepy souvenir. I didn't tell her about the tapping yet. It sounded stupid out loud. That evening I came home from work early and noticed our side gate was open. We always kept it latched, because of the dog. I walked the yard thinking maybe I forgot. Near the back window, the dirt looked disturbed. Not footprints, more like knees had pressed into the soil. I felt watched then. You know that feeling when you don't see anyone but your brain insists someone sees you? I turned toward Mr. Halvorsen's house. His curtains were parted slightly, just enough to suggest someone stood behind them. They closed slowly. I locked every window that night. At 12:30 a.m., I heard our kitchen cabinet open. Not slam. Not bang. Open. A soft hinge creak. I walked in, expecting the dog, but he stood behind me, refusing to enter. The cabinet beneath the sink hung open wide. Inside, the cleaning supplies had been moved, lined up carefully along the back wall. Too neatly, like someone organizing. I checked doors, all locked. No broken glass. Nothing missing. We installed a small camera the next day, mostly to calm ourselves. I still didn't connect it to the exhibit. My brain kept building normal explanations. Sleepwalking. Faulty latch. Stress. That night, the camera recorded movement at 3:04 a.m. Not a person. The living room blinds lifting slightly, 10 dropping. I'm continuing exactly where I left off. The same house, the same quiet street, and Mr. Halvorsen still living across from me. This is the same night, the same footage, and the same stolen doll from the exhibit. Now here's what happened next. No one visible. But at the very edge of frame, near the couch arm, something appeared for less than a second. Fabric. Patterned, red with faded shapes. The same pattern printed on flyers at the exhibit. I didn't sleep after watching it. The following afternoon, I walked across to Mr. Halvorsen's place under the excuse of returning a package misdelivered to us earlier in the week. He opened the door halfway. The interior smelled stale, like closed rooms and dust. Behind him, on a small wooden chair near the hallway, sat a glass display box, empty. He noticed me looking and stepped in front of it casually. We talked for maybe 30 seconds. His responses were delayed, like he was listening for something else inside the house. When I mentioned the stolen doll from the exhibit, his eyes flicked past me toward our home before returning. He said, "People shouldn't bring things home that want to leave." I laughed awkwardly and left. That night, the tapping happened on our bedroom window, not the living room. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. I didn't look this time. Instead, I grabbed my phone and called police. While waiting, I heard slow footsteps on the porch. Deliberate, measured. The knob turned once gently as if tested. When officers arrived minutes later, no one was there. But placed neatly on our welcome mat was a small wooden chair, the exact size of the missing display chair. They took a report, searched the area, and knocked on neighbors' doors. Mr. Halvorsen didn't answer despite lights on inside. Officers said they'd follow up in daylight. He was gone by morning. House empty. Car missing. Back door unlocked. Inside, they found the glass case shattered in a bedroom. No doll. In his basement were hundreds of printed photos, our house from different angles, windows, yard, even shots taken through narrow blind gaps. Dates written on the back going weeks before the exhibit ever came to town. One photo showed me sleeping on the couch, taken through the living room window. Police later told us he'd worked security briefly for the company transporting the exhibit between cities. He'd been fired months earlier after trying to access storage crates off hours. They never found the doll. We moved 3 weeks later. I still check locks more than necessary. I still wake sometimes expecting tapping. And every once in a while, usually around 3 a.m., our dog stares toward whatever window faces the street and whines at nothing. Have you ever had a neighbor who knew more about you than they should? Tell me, Bilou. Sometimes sharing it makes it feel less like they're still watching.